Before we step into today's exhibit, take one last look behind you. In our last gallery, we explored the flags, those silent signals people wave whether they know it or not. Red flags, beige flags, pink flags, green flags, camouflage flags. The clues that help us recognize what we're walking toward, or what we should probably be walking away from. If you missed that exhibit, now's a good time to visit. It'll make you understand what you're about to see much clearer. Now, welcome to Exhibit 3. You've learned how to recognize the signals, but here's the question most people never ask. Why do some people leave you energized while others leave you feeling like your battery got stolen? Why can one 10-minute conversation make your whole day while another drains you for 3? That isn't just personality, it's exchange. Welcome to the Human Energy Exchange. Every conversation is a transaction. Every relationship is an exchange. Every room contains an invisible economy where attention, emotions, time, peace, confidence, and focus are constantly moving from one person to another. Some people multiply what they receive, others consume everything around them. Most never realize that they're doing either.
Please gather near the center of the gallery. Some of today's exhibits may feel strangely familiar. That's because every visitor has participated in human energy exchange. The only question is, were you giving energy, receiving it, protecting it, or losing it? The energy vampire. Our next exhibit concerns a particularly fascinating species, the energy vampire. Not inherently malicious, not always intentional. Yet somehow, after every interaction, you find yourself feeling exhausted while they seem completely refreshed. Curious, isn't it?
Meet Mecca, Darren, and Joyce. Mecca woke up with a full battery today. Not perfect, not overflowing, just enough energy to take care of her responsibilities, work on her dreams, and maybe even to laugh a little bit before the day was over. Then Darren arrived. Darren wasn't loud. Energy vampires rarely are. He came wrapped in excuses. Every conversation somehow became about him. Every problem somehow became hers to solve. Every decision required her emotional labor. He didn't ask for advice. He asked for her battery. Little by little, phone call after phone call, complaint after complaint, crisis after crisis. Without realizing it, Mecca's battery dropped from 100% to 72%. Then Joyce entered. Joyce wasn't intentionally harmful. She just simply had no boundaries. She believed immediate access was the same thing as friendship. If Mecca rested, Joyce called. If Mecca worked, Joyce interrupted. If Mecca finally found peace, Joyce remembered just one more thing. Now Mecca wasn't carrying one person's emotional backpack. She was carrying 2. Therefore, her battery slipped again. From 72 to 58 to 41. By the 3rd day, Mecca noticed something strange. She hadn't spent those hours building her business. She hadn't finished the project she promised herself. She really hadn't rested. She hadn't even enjoyed the quiet she's been craving. She had been busy, but none of the busy belonged to her. Did we notice something? Darren never stole money. Joyce never stole property. But together, they quietly borrowed the one resource Mecca could never earn back. Time, attention, mental clarity, emotional energy. Here's what changed everything. Mecca stopped trying to manage everyone else's emotions. She started managing access to hers. Some calls waited. Some conversations became shorter. Some problems were returned to their rightful owners. Some silence became sacred. And something beautiful happened. Her battery stopped leaking. Not because Darren changed, not because Joyce changed, but because Mecca did. You see, energy vampires don't survive on your weakness. They survive on your lack of boundaries. Your energy is a resource. Treat it that way. Treat it almost like an investor treats money. Spend it on purpose. Protect it without guilt. And remember, every yes you give away It's quietly asking something else in your life to become a no.
The Boundary Buster. This exhibit explores what happens when personal limits are treated as optional suggestions. Boundaries exist for a reason. The people who respect them reveal character. The people who repeatedly test them reveal even more. Let's take a look.
Boundary busters. The example of just real quick, just this once. You see, Monica loved her younger sister, Tasha. If Tasha needed a little sugar, Monica had it. If she forgot the Wi-Fi password, Monica texted it. If she needed to borrow a sweater, no problem. When the family cookout came around, Monica, can you make the potato salad? Of course she did. Then one evening, Tasha called in a panic. Girl, can you keep the kids for just a little while? It's an emergency. Monica agreed. Before hanging up, she gently added, I don't mind helping this time, but Wednesdays and Thursdays are really hard for me. I have to be at work before 4 in the morning on Fridays, so I really can't make this a habit. I understand, Tasha replied. This is just a one-time thing. A few weeks later, girl, can you watch some kids real quick? I really can't. Remember what I told you about Thursdays? Oh, it'll only be 10 minutes. The 10 minutes became 2 hours. A month later, someone else dropped the children off at Monica's house. Tasha said you already knew. Monica didn't. She ended up arriving late to work. Again. When she confronted her sister Tasha apologized. I know, I'm sorry. It won't happen again. But somehow, one more time, kept happening. The requests didn't become bigger overnight. They became bigger because every yes quietly moved the boundary a little farther back. By the time Monica realized what had happened, she wasn't protecting a boundary anymore. She was defending what was left of one. Sometimes people always say they take your kindness for weakness. I don't consider it being a weakness. They take your kindness for allowance. Because if you were nice the first time, they assume you'll be nice again and again and again. This is why it's very important to put boundaries up in the beginning, allowing the other person to know that there will be some leeway at times, at my discretion. But it is not for you to tell me when and where the allowance needs to be given. A true friend, a real family member, will appreciate and respect the boundary. A person who is not your friend and does not care about your well-being or rules of engagement will become defensive and say that you've changed. Don't fall for that. Believe in yourself, set your boundary, and know that you are just important as whatever they deem important to them.
The options maker. Some people make decisions. Others collect possibilities. The options maker prefers every door remain open, every path available, and every answer comfortably delayed. Unfortunately, somebody is usually left waiting in the hallway.
Meet Monica and Keisha. For 3 months, they've been trying to have lunch together. Every Friday, Monica texted, Girl, where we eating? Keisha replied, I don't know. We could do seafood or maybe tacos. Actually, I've been wanting Italian, but maybe we should save that, unless you want brunch. Or maybe we should wait until next week. Monica laughed. Okay, so where are we going? Keisha sent another message. What do you feel like eating? Monica answered, I don't care. Now, both women were creating options. Nobody was making decisions. 30 minutes passed, an hour passed. Restaurants started getting crowded. Finally, Keisha texted, Girl, let's just stay home. Sometimes the greatest obstacle isn't making the wrong decision. It's refusing to make any decision at all. Take another example. Let's meet Brandon. Brandon wanted to move. He found an apartment. Maybe I should wait on this. Another apartment appeared. What if something cheaper comes? A third appeared. What if the interest rate drops? And now a fourth. What if my dream apartment comes available? Months passed. Then the apartment he really loved was rented. The cheaper apartment, gone. Interest rates went up. A year later, Brandon was still saying, I'm weighing my options. You see, the resource siphon steals your resources. The time thief steals your time. The option maker, well, he steals your momentum. They don't always steal yours directly. Sometimes they steal your own future before even committing.
The time thief. Time is one of life's few non-renewable resources. Once spent, it cannot be returned, which makes this exhibit particularly costly. Welcome to the time thief, the master of real quick.
Meet Coco and Brittany. They planned this simple afternoon together. We're going to do lunch. We're going to go to the mall. Because, girl, I need to finish some work at home, so we need to head home kind of early. However, before they leave, Brittany says, girl, can we stop somewhere real quick? Coco shrugs. Sure. It'll only take 5 minutes. It's no big deal. It's on the way back to our house. Okay. A few minutes later. Girl, since we already over here, can we swing by Walmart real quick? After Walmart. Girl, my cousin asked me to grab something for her. It'll only take a second. As they're driving, Brittany's phone rang. Hey, yeah, we out already. You need some bread? What else? Butter? Milk? Okay, we'll stop by. No problem, girl. Then another call. Girl, you know what? Angie worked right around here. Let's stop by and speak to her real quick. Another stop. Another errand. Another real quick. Hours pass. My lunch is cold. The mall is rushed. And by the time Brittany gets dropped off, Coco realizes the sun is setting. The work she planned to finish, hell, it won't get done today. Out of frustration, before Brittany exits the car, girl, I thought we was hanging out. I didn't know I signed up to chauffeur everybody in your phone. I mean, every time we're together, there's another stop, another favor, another real quick, it's on the way. None of it feels like much until I realize my whole damn day is gone.
Brittany never asked for 4 hours. She asked for 5 minutes, over and over and over again. A time thief rarely steals your day all at once. They borrow a few minutes so many times that before you know it, you've lost the very thing you couldn't replace. Time. The resource siphon. Not every person asks for money. Some ask for something far more valuable. Your ideas, your creativity, your energy, your solutions. Welcome to the resource siphon. Please keep all original thoughts securely fastened during the tour.
Meet Decorah and Juanita. Both women were hired by the same advertising agency. They attended the same training, sat through the same presentations, received the same employee handbook, had access to the same online learning portal. Every client brief, every campaign guide, every creative standard, every answer was available to both of them. During training, the instructor asked repeatedly, "Does anyone have any questions?" Decorah asked a few, took a few notes, highlighted important sections, saved files on her computer. When she didn't understand something, she searched the company's knowledge base before asking for help. Juanita also filled pages with notes, or at least it looked that way. The first week on the job, everything seemed normal. Decorah, how do I submit this? Where do I find that file again? What color palette are we using? Decorah smiled. She answered, no problem. Everyone needs help in the beginning. The second week, the questions became constant. Can you explain that again? Wait, what did the client want? What does this mean in this email? Can you show me just one more time? Decorah explained again. Still, no problem. Then something strange happened. One afternoon, their manager assigned each designer 3 campaigns. Decorah was already half through hers when Juanita rolled her chair over. Girl, I'm going to need you to walk me through mine. Decorah paused. I thought you read the client brief. Juanita laughed. Nah, girl, that's what I got you for. Silence. For the first time, Decorah realized something. Juanita wasn't confused. She was outsourcing responsibility. She had stopped investing in her own growth because somebody else's knowledge was easier to borrow. Days later, Decorah headed toward the supply room to grab presentation boards for a project. Juanita called after her. Hey, could you grab me some poster adhesive while you're back there? Decorah looked confused. My project doesn't need adhesive. I know, but mine does. Decorah kept walking. A few minutes later, Juanita appeared again holding a mock-up. You know what? Can you fix this for me? It's faster when you do it. Before we move on, I want to give you all a little homework. We've covered a lot today. Identity, choices, boundaries, behavior. And if we're being honest, every single one of us has probably recognized ourselves in at least one of these exhibits. So don't just leave here thinking about everyone else. Go home and ask yourself some honest questions. Which exhibits sounded a little too familiar? Which behaviors do you need to work on? Which people came to mind while you were listening? Write those things down. Don't worry about having all the answers today. Just begin with paying attention. Keep your notes handy because you're going to need them when we continue our tour. Some of those questions may answer themselves, and some of them may become even more important. Now, before we make our way to the Human Energy Exchange in the North Wing, we have one final exhibit here in the East Wing.
Thank you, everyone. Our final exhibit here in the East Wing is called Mirror People. Please follow me. Mirror people are individuals whose success, discipline, peace, confidence, or growth reflects the gap between what we say we want and what we're actually willing to do. They don't create your insecurity, they reveal it. Some people walk into our lives carrying a mirror instead of a spotlight. At first, we think we're looking at them. Their promotion, their relationship, their confidence, their opportunities. But if we stay with the feeling long enough, we realize something surprising. The discomfort isn't always about what they have. Sometimes it's about what they're reflecting back to us. This next exhibit isn't about competition. It's about reflection. Welcome to Mirror People.
Meet Angela and Denise. Angela had worked for the company for nearly 6 years. Every time a promotion became available, she'd shake her head and say the same thing. Girl, they already know I want it. One afternoon, she overheard that her coworker Denise had been selected for yet another leadership position. Laughing, but not really joking, Angela walked over and said, Girl, didn't you just get promoted a few months ago? You're not going to leave nothing for the rest of us. Denise smiled politely. Girl, I just applied. That answer irritated Angela more than she expected. All afternoon, she watched Denise. People greeted her differently. Managers stopped by her office. Co-workers asked for her opinion. It seemed like everything just happened for Denise. What Angela never saw was Denise staying an hour late almost every evening. She never saw Denise taking online courses on weekends. She never saw the notebook filled with ideas Denise had been collecting for nearly a year. She never saw the projects Denise quietly completed before anyone even asked. Angela wasn't seeing Denise, she was seeing the success. She never looked closely enough to notice the preparation standing right beside it. Sometimes the mirror isn't showing us someone else's life. It's reflecting the work we're unwilling to acknowledge or unwilling to do ourselves. Mirror people. Sometimes the reflection back can be scary.
Well, it sounds like someone is a little early. I believe I hear Professor Kofi making his way down the hall. As we take a brief intermission, we'd like to introduce the professor who will be guiding you through the remainder of your journey here at the museum. On the screen, you'll find a brief overview of his background and credentials. I'll let him introduce himself.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying your visit so far. I've heard you've been asking some excellent questions, and I certainly hope you brought those questions with you. After your break, you'll be joining me in the North Wing, home of the Human Energy Exchange. Together, we'll explore why people think the way they do, why they behave the way they do, and perhaps why we sometimes behave in ways we don't even recognize ourselves. But before we begin, I'd like to ask one favor of each of you. When you walk into my classroom, leave your judgment at the door. Bring your curiosity. Bring your questions. Bring your experiences. Because our goal isn't to decide who's good or who's bad. Our goal is to understand. Understanding is where meaningful change begins. I'll see you shortly.
Thank you, Professor. And with that, this concludes our tour of the East Wing. It's been my pleasure walking alongside you. After the break, you'll be in Professor Kofi's very capable hands as he and his team guide you through the human energy exchange. Enjoy your intermission. We'll see you in the North Wing.